Welcome back, guys. So today we are once again going to practice identifying the central idea and the supporting evidence that proves that that is the central idea. And we're going to do that on the board here today. So what you should be able to do by the end of this is recognize the central idea with supporting evidence. So we're going to read an article. We're going to fill out a graphic organizer, and then you are going to go and practice on your own. So now, read the passage, then fill in the graphic organizer with the central idea and three details that support that central idea. So I'm going to pull up the article here, and we're going to notice our text features. The title, Recycling and Conservation, Why Recycle? So we should be able to figure out from the title that this is going to be about recycling and why we should do it. We see our picture. And so then we come down, and again, you can see, for the sake of time in the lesson, the article is very short, but I'm going to read it, and you can read along. Recycling is a process where something is reused rather than thrown away. Common items that are recycled include aluminum and steel cans, glass, and newspapers. Recycling can be time-consuming and dirty work. For example, recyclable objects have to be sorted from trash. Then the objects have to be cleaned. Afterwards, the objects are turned into materials that can be used by people and companies. Why should people bother to recycle even though it takes a lot of work? So let's stop here and do our practice, our getting the gist. All right, so as I've discussed with you before, we're using the bracket notation. We bracket off this first paragraph, right? Okay, and we're going to try and get the gist of what this says in a real simple, quick sentence. All right, so we read it, and we know this paragraph tells us that recycling is when something is reused. So what I did was I got the gist of that statement, of this paragraph, in one simple statement. Recycling is when something is reused and it is a hard task. So we summed up our first paragraph in one gist statement via this bracket notation right here. So now we go back to the article. This way, when we get to the end, we have our gist statements to go back to. So if we have to find something to answer the question, we can go back to the gist statements and figure out if the answer is in that paragraph or not. So, our next paragraph. Recycling helps protect the earth. Recycling means less garbage in landfills. These are places where garbage is taken and buried. So, landfills. Maybe you know the definition of landfills, but if you don't, we can use context clues here. Landfills, the definition is in the following sentence. These are places where garbage is taken and buried. So we know that landfills are where garbage is taken and buried underground. Recycling also helps conserve the Earth's resources. For example, factories use less energy by recycling steel cans than by making new ones. Recycling paper saves trees from being cut down. Trees are used to make paper. Well, let's go back and do another context clue practice. Conserve. Again, you may know what conserve means, but if you don't, you can use the examples. It gives you examples of what conserving means. This says factories use less energy by recycling steel cans than making new ones. So they're conserving energy because they're using less. Recycling paper saves trees from being cut down. So they're conserving the trees. So if we know that factories are using less trees by recycling, and or factories are using less energy by recycling, and less trees are being cut down by recycling, we can figure out that conserve means to save, because we're saving energy and we're saving trees. So now, once again, we're going to get our gist statement. The gist of this paragraph here is that recycling helps save resources. Recycling helps save resources. And we got that from figuring out what conserve meant and then using the examples. And now we're going to finish it off. Every time you're about to drop a plastic bottle in the garbage, stop and think. Is it worth harming the earth? Your actions now can help preserve the environment for generations to come. All you have to do is throw that bottle into a recycling bin. Get in the habit. Be proud of recycling. Encourage others to recycle. You can make a difference. And so again, these are two short paragraphs, so we're going to loop them together. We're going to get our gist statement. And what we're seeing here is that recycling can help not harm the earth. So, recycling helps not harm the earth. And so, here what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the importance of these gist statements. See, in 3 sentences, we can use these 3 sentences to figure out what this entire passage was about. Well, recycling is when something is reused, and it is a hard task. But recycling helps save resources and helps not harm the earth. And so we are able to summarize this passage using our gist statements. This is why I tell you to write these gist statements. That way, if you have to write a summary, you have been summarizing the whole time. And then you take it and you put it into your paragraphs. But that is not the goal of today. The goal of today was to complete this graphic organizer right here. All right? So, let me make this full screen. Let me erase what I already wrote on the board. Now, you've seen this graphic organizer before. And you're going to see it again. But we're going to fill it out here. So, the main idea of the article, the main idea, or the central idea, because remember, those are interchangeable. The main or the central idea is that recycling helps to save the earth and its resources. And we were able to put that together from finding what did all of our gist statements have in common. And they all talked about recycling, the earth, and its resources. And so recycling helps to save the earth and its resources. And so again, we have to find 3 things from the text that help prove that main idea. Now we're going to put these in our own words, but we're going to say where we got them from. So, number one, supporting evidence number 1, there's less trash buried in landfills all right? We know this because it says this. The author says this in paragraph 2. Okay? There is less trash buried in landfills. The author says this in paragraph 2. So that is supporting evidence number 1. By burying less trash in landfills, that helps save the earth because there's less trash buried underneath it. Or within it, I'm sorry. Supporting evidence 2. Recycling helps conserve Earth's resources. All right? The author uses the examples of energy and trees. Okay? So again, we found another example of how recycling conserves the earth's resources. And the example are energy and trees. So we've given our supporting evidence and our textual evidence all right there. The last one, our third supporting evidence, recycling protects the environment for generations. Recycling protects the environment for generations. This is stated in paragraph 3. All right? And so what you have, a main idea, and 3 supporting evidences for that main idea. And we did this from a short article. So if you have a larger article, you should be able to point out many different, more than 3 evidences, or maybe more than one main or central idea. But we will get there. Today, your task is to complete a graphic organizer like this using a different article. And that assignment is on Canvas for you to view. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me and let me know if you need help. As always, have a great day.